Hello, I'm Kaiser and welcome to Moose Reads. Before I get started, I want to say that the opinions that I give here are my own opinions. They are extremely subjective. If I dislike a book, it is not a reflection on the author, and it is not a reflection on people who do like it. Different people have different tastes, and that's okay. Today, I will be reviewing The 99 Boyfriends of Micah Summers by Adam Sass. This is a romance novel. The description says, Micah is rich, dreamy, and charming. As the Prince of Chicago, the son of local celebrity sports radio host known as the King of Chicago, he has everything going for him. Unfortunately, he's also the prince of imaginary meet-cutes, since he's too nervous to actually ask boys out. Instead, Micah draws each crush to share on Instagram with a post about their imaginary dates. 99 boyfriends later, his account is hugely popular and everyone is eagerly awaiting Boy 100. So is Micah. He's determined that Boy 100 will be different. This time, Micah will sweep the boy off his feet for real. So when Micah flirts with a hot boy on the L, who's wearing a vegan leather jacket and lugging a ton of library books, he is sure this is Boy 100. But right before he can make his move and ask for the boy's number, the guy rushes off the train, leaving behind his pumpkin-embroidered jacket. The jacket holds clues to the boy's identity, so Micah and his friends set off on a quest to return it. Along the way, Micah will discover that the best relationships aren't fairy tales. In fact, the perfect fit, and true love, might be closer than he thinks. 2 stars. I didn't really have high expectations going into this. We were bored, and my brother asked if I wanted to listen to an audiobook, and still not wanting to start a series, I picked this recent acquisition on a whim. The description doesn't hook me, but I was willing to give it a shot. Honestly, this book was terrible. Well, that isn't entirely fair. This book was fine. Micah is overdramatic and ridiculous, and I don't think I cared for the audiobook narrator, but for most of the book, I thought it was pretty good. I was prepared to like it. There's this issue with the book. I can't talk about it without basically spoiling the end. The most I can say without spoilers is that Sass needs to learn to loathe some of his characters, and because he doesn't, I hate Micah. I'm sorry, there's just no way to explain it. Don't read this book. That's what I'll say. If you like romance, I expect you will like some of this book quite a bit. Until you don't, and then, like me, you really won't. That's it for no spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, now is the time to pause or close the video. For everyone else, let's talk details. It is blatantly obvious from before the boy on the train even makes his appearance that the guy Micah is going to end up with is his best friend's other best friend, Elliot. It still will take Micah pretty much the entire book to figure this out, but if you're even vaguely familiar with genre conventions, you'll catch this right away. This was so clear to me that I spent the first half of the book certain that there was some trick happening. I honestly believed that Elliot was the boy on the train somehow, and I was just waiting for the book to explain how that worked. After all, this is supposed to be a loose Cinderella retelling from the prince's point of view, and it's not terribly uncommon for Cinderella and the prince to meet early, with the prince not recognizing her later. The groundwork was all there, too. When Micah goes on his quest to find the boy on the train, each step along the way feels like it's hinting at Elliot. But no, the boy on the train is named Grant, and he's a different, perfectly nice boy. He's a perfectly nice boy that Micah will not be dating at the end of this book. When we finally met Grant, I was flabbergasted. They kind of go on 2 first dates, and during both of them, the boy is so perfect I began to doubt my ability to understand books. There is a flow to these things, and it was being thoroughly disrupted. Mr. Wrong is not supposed to be perfect. So I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. Something had to be wrong with him. And the answer was there, quietly floating in the periphery. Micah has a fairly popular Instagram page, and Grant seems pretty invested in it. Obviously, he was just using him for fame. He's perfect because he's lying. Sadly, I was only a quarter right. Grant isn't lying. He really is that great, but he is also kind of using Micah to gain fame. Only it isn't malicious in the least. For the first few steps, it's entirely Micah who is using his platform to hype their relationship. Grant is a fashion designer approaching a big show that could have a major impact on his future, so yeah, he starts to use Micah's Insta as a marketing tool to help him out. Very quickly, Micah starts to realize he hates this. His dad is famous, and he doesn't really like being in the spotlight. If at any point Micah had opened his fucking mouth and told Grant he was uncomfortable with it, I would have been less annoyed at him. Instead, he lets his feelings stew until he blows up the day before Grant's big show. And of course, while Micah is quietly getting annoyed with his boyfriend, he's also beginning to realize he likes Elliot. Mostly, I would be fine with that. People are allowed to feel what they feel. But Micah only narrowly misses kissing Elliot. Despite his revelation, he still doesn't have a conversation with Grant. Instead, he doubles down on professing his feelings for Grant while vehemently denying any interest at all in Elliot. So the lead up to the end has both Grant and Elliot feeling like shit because Micah is being an asshole to everyone. As if this wasn't all bad enough, the moment he chooses to confess his feelings to Grant is right before his big show. I mean, Grant pretty much already knew it was coming, but literally any time would have been better. Seriously, Grant needed to be a bad guy. But Sass either thought he was subverting genre tropes by having both guys be nice, or he just can't bring himself to villainize his characters. As a result, Micah comes off as a massive jackass. Honestly, both boys deserve better. What's even more frustrating than the fact that poor Grant just gets screwed for no reason, the book teased me with a better solution. At some point, all three of them start working together, and Micah makes some comment about a threesome, and by that point I was desperate for that to be the solution because I could see where they were headed, and I hated it. But no polyamory for this book. The show is a big success, so I guess that's supposed to be Grant's happy ending, but I don't know how anyone could be satisfied with that, given that Grant seems every bit as eager to meet his Prince Charming as Micah, and instead he just gets dumped. So yeah, I hated this book. It was pretty iffy to start with, given how over-the-top Micah is in general, but the ending absolutely ruined the whole thing. That's all I have to say about the 99 Boyfriends of Micah Summers. If you like this video, I hope you'll watch more in the future. Thanks for watching this one. Bye!